Hello, and thanks for joining me in my extra festive shop for this special time of year as I sip a, we'll say, hot chocolate out of my special mug that just isn't really quite the same when it's not with the complete set. Today I want to go over my ideas for the top 10, 11, whatever it comes out to, Christmas ideas for either you as a woodworker or the woodworker in your life. Now these will all have links below in the description. Some of them are affiliate links, some of them are not. I will let you know which ones are so you can tell if I'm biased or not, but everything here is stuff I own, and you can tell by how dirty it is that I use it a lot. So it's not just stuff I picked up and it's still in the packaging for you to decide whether or not it's good or not. I use it all the time in my shop. That's how I came up with this list. Now my first two ideas are consumables. Things that we all go through all the time throughout the year, but it would be nice to have a little bit extra or replenish what we already have. So first up is Type-On 2, or 1, or 3, whatever you prefer, but I use most Type-On 2. You could tell because the level is very low. Now for me personally, I have 16-ounce bottles of all the ones I use all the time because they have the top that squirts out, makes it easy to use, it's a good size, fits in your hand. This is my preferred size. But I do use a ton of this in particular, so if your giftee also uses a lot, you can go ahead and buy the whole gallon. Makes it even easier. Now, full disclosure, Type-On did recently send me some glue to use. I used the product well before they did, and I will continue to do so. Type-On 2 in particular, I think, is a great all-rounder because it's for interior and exterior use. I just find it's my go-to, so this is the one I would recommend, but if you're buying for somebody else, maybe try to get a look in their shop and see what they use more. Regardless, they're going to use whatever you give them because wood glue, you go through a ton of it if you're building good stuff. Second up in the consumable categories is sandpaper. And I use one kind of sandpaper with the exception of some discs I have left over from previous purchases. I only now use 3M Extract Cubitron 2. You can get a box like this containing 50 discs for around 20 bucks depending on grit. They do make a couple different ones. This is the pattern I like the best. It is for a 5-inch orbital sander. If you're buying for someone that uses an orbital sander and you're not sure what size it is, 5 inch is usually the standard, but I would get a look at what model they use. And the cool thing about this is because there's no specific hole pattern, it will work with any brand sander that you choose or that they are using. This is basically universal. Some sanders recommend getting an adapter pad to use these mesh discs. I got one for mine, but it's not necessary. These are fantastic. They last longer than anything else I've used. They're relatively cheap, a good stocking stuffer, but whoever you're buying for will go through these eventually. Item number 3 is a marking gauge for laying out joinery or marking on wood in any other way that you need to. I picked this one up from my local Woodcraft. I believe this is a brass wheel with a locking mechanism, and it feels like the rod is aluminum, and there's markings up both sides in metric and standard. There are a lot of these out there. I prefer the ones with the wheel on them instead of the pin, but loosen it up, move it around, lock it down to wherever you need, and you can mark on your piece of wood. I will link to 2 different ones below because I can't find this exact one, a link to this exact one anymore, but this is a great tool. If they don't use one of these yet or don't do advanced joineries, this might set them on a path to improving their woodworking skills as well. Great gift and fits in a stocking really well. Next up is a set of digital calipers. These have a lot of different uses, the biggest being determining the thickness of the wood you're using. It comes in handy once you're still milling your own lumber, so you know for sure, even if you're running it all through at the same time and you have to go back through your pile of pre-milled lumber when you're working through a project to make sure you're getting the right thickness so that everything lines up properly. The other nice thing these are useful for is measuring the interior width of something, and because you have the stick that comes out the bottom, it's great for setting saw blade height. So if you're trying to cut through half the distance of material, measure your thickness, say it's 1 inch, it's all decimals. So, you know, if it's at 0.8 inches, you know that you can then move the wheel down to 0.4 inches, and that is, lock it in place, and now you can set your saw blade height, sort of like a setup block for in between depths. It's a great tool. A lot of people don't use them, but this has a lot more uses in a woodworking shop than a lot of people realize. I grab mine all the time and usually misplace them all the time too. All right, next up are Narex Mortising Chisels. These are great for cutting mortises if you're doing mortise and tenon joinery. They're well made, nice wooden handles, and they're thick and heavy. There are better mortising chisels out there. They cost about 3 times as much. And for most people though, unless you're really, really good and really precise, these will do everything you need them to do for a fraction of the cost. On the line of chisels, please don't comment about how terrible I am treating my chisels right now. All 4 of these need sharpened. They will be sharpened soon because I just finished up a project using these. However, as far as cheap chisels go, these are Irwin marples. They make a couple different kinds of marples. These have these striker plates on the back with the shaft that goes all the way through to the blade. These are heavy, they're hefty, they're bevel edge bench chisels. They have nice rubber grips on the side. If you want a good set of chisels that are also very affordable, I highly recommend these chisels. There are cheaper chisels out there that I've seen come out of the box and they are nowhere near flat. These are not perfectly flat out of the box either, but they were not bad to get a good edge on, and I don't feel bad about if I end up dropping them because they're not that expensive, but they do the job and they do it quite well. So I would highly recommend these chisels for a nice set of starter bench chisels as well. Now the next gift idea is also something that was sent to me, but I specifically requested to use this one. This is a Bridge City Toolworks TS2V2. The reason I went with the 2V2 is because it has the markings on it. It has your rule on it, up to 6 inches on the interior and up to 8 inches on the exterior if you're measuring from this face. 6 inches, 8 inches. These are fantastic, and they also include the 8:1 dovetail ratio that is common. So if you need to mark out dovetails, you can use it for that as well. Now, this is a little bit of a bigger one. They do make two smaller ones, the 1V2 and the 1V1.5. I would recommend the 1V2 at $50, and this one is the 2V2 at $70. So again, the nice thing is the 2V2 is the only one that comes with the rule on it, so that's why I wanted this one in particular, but the smaller 1V2 might be a more manageable size for most people. That's up to you. Now the one tool I will include for woodpeckers is one of their one-time tools. These are clamping bridges. So the idea is you have this on a panel, and the joint between that panel that you're clamping together goes between these so that the glue squeeze out. You can wipe up through there, or prevents these from sticking to the glue and getting glue on them. And it also allows for better panel lineup. So instead of trying to clamp each seam and having a small reference surface, these are hard plastic and will keep the whole panel lined up better. So these come in packs of 12 for 50 bucks, or you can get a 24 pack for 80 bucks. I got the 12 pack, actually to be honest, a buddy of mine and I split a 24 pack so we get them both cheaper, another option, because they basically ship as 2 different 12 packs. These are fantastic. I've used them once so far because I've only recently got them, and these are actually worth the money. Highly recommend something like this. My next recommendation, if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen this a ton of times, is this Sentech dust collector hose kit, adapter kit, whatever. It comes with a 16-foot hose and like 6 of these little adapters. They are fantastic. They are a quick disconnect, and what this allows you to do is use a standard shop vac for more high-end tools. I ended up getting this because I upgraded my orbital sander to a Festool, which I highly recommend. It's fantastic. If you do a ton of sanding, you will actually enjoy sanding with a higher end sander, trust me. But it wouldn't attach to my dust collection. And part of the advantage of the Festool is that it works great with their dust extractor. I still have a shop vac, and it works fantastic with that because of the quick disconnects that go on all these tools. They're different sizes. There's, like I said, there's like 6 in the pack, and I've connected it to this, my Ryobi orbital sander, my Ryobi drum sander. I connected it to something else as well. But anyway, it all connects together. You get this cool hose that hooks right up to your shop vac, and like I said, it's all quick disconnect. Clip it right on there, and there's little gates you can swing around if you want to adjust if the suction's open or not. Quick disconnect, hooked up to another tool, you're ready to go. fantastic. It's like $52 I think right now, and well worth it to be able to use a shop vac or anything else on different tools would get all that great dust collection without having to buy all the fancy hoses from the name brands like Festool. Now going a little bit pricier is this little guy. Also from Bridge City, also sent to me to use, also because I requested it, because it's pretty awesome. So it has, for one, a saddle square, which means this is a perfect 90 degrees. So if you're transferring a line around the edge of a board, set this right on top, use your marking knife we already talked about, transfer that line. Additionally, you have a 6:1 ratio dovetail marker. Again, set it on the edge of your board, mark out your tails and your pins, ready to go. You also get an 8:1 dovetail ratio, same thing, all in one tool. And when you loosen this guy up, spin this out, yikes. Slide this out and you have your bevel square as well. Set it to whatever angle, lock it back down, transfer that angle. Pretty awesome. 4-in-1 tools. Again, I requested this. These are $90 right now on sale, but let me tell you, well worth it. All aluminum. I'm happy with it. I hand cut all my dovetails with this. It slips in your apron real easy or in your pocket. When this is down, doubles as a belt clip. Perfect. Great tool, great stocking stuffer. A little more expensive, but worth it. And last but certainly not least, this is the most expensive thing on this list so far. This is also from Bridge City, also sent to me. This is the Celebration Edition, which may or may not want to get the Celebration Edition. I like it. It's very well made. But I don't know if this Celebration Edition is necessary. This particular one in the champagne gold, they also have sapphire and black. They come in at $300 for a very small mini block plane, but the normal HP8 is only $85. And I have used this more than I thought I would. I do chamfers and roundovers with this by hand now to do my own profiling because it gives a more handmade look without looking trashy. Once you get a little bit of practice with it on some scrap wood, you can actually do a pretty nice roundover with something like this. Adjustable mouth on it. Real easy to take apart. Twist this off, pop this up. Your iron slides out. Sharpen it up, put it right back in. There is no play in this at all. And let me tell you, the first hand plane I got was a Cobalt from Lowe's. I still have not gotten that thing set up to cut right. This right out of the box, I used it, no issues. So if you have thought about getting into hand tools, if you'd like to explore hand tools a little bit, this is a great hand plane to start with. It can't do a ton of work if you're not gonna smooth the whole board with it, but you can do a lot with this little guy and get a feel for hand planes. Because I gotta tell you, since I want this, I kind of want to get the rest of the hand plane lineup. I want the rest of their stuff. It just looks good. It's hefty. It's about twice as heavy as I thought it was going to be out of the box, and I use it a lot. The last thing I'm going to mention is something that was recently sent to me. I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to use it because I don't do a lot of site work out of the shop, but if you do, this looks very useful to me. It's called the Riker bag. It is available on Amazon. I am an affiliate of the Riker bag, but check this thing out. Unrolls, you have zipper pouch, and I mean, you can fit some stuff in there. 4 chisels. No problem, still tons of room. Another zipper bag, another zipper bag. This is a fold-out wrench holder, or you can put your chisels in here, whatever you want to take with you. And then 2 small zipper pouches that zip on the top. The other cool thing about this is you can take stuff out. If you want to, there's D-rings on some of these. If you want to take this off, stick it in your pocket, stick it in your apron, whatever you want to do. If you're climbing up on a ladder, you're doing installs, you're doing built-ins, whatever. This thing's actually pretty cool and well made. It's all, I think it's canvas. Careful with those. Don't want to get any cuts. Rolls up nice. It also has handles on both ends, and I noticed, I've seen pictures, eyelets. So you could actually, I've seen pictures of this being hung over a door. So even in your shop, if you wanted to hang this on the side of your cabinet to organize some stuff when you're not doing installs, you can use it like that too. Oh, and there's a mesh zipper pocket on the outside. Nice. So like I said, this just came in recently. I have not personally used it a ton yet. I can tell it's pretty well made. Pretty cool. I think they're running a sale right now. It's only like 30, 35 bucks. They should be, last I talked to them, they were actually out of stock. They should be back in stock. If not, by the time this video comes out shortly after. You can tell there's plenty of room for expansion once you get your tools in there, and harness to carry it with you. So another Riker bag, pretty cool tool to have. And of course, merchandise. We have the blue shirts, we have these in charcoal gray. Hats just came back in stock. Yours will not have the sweat stains that mine have until you put your own on there. And also, just in, beanies with a leather patch on with our logo as well. There's stickers as well if you're interested in a sticker. Check all those out at the link below and get your Fernwood Farms woodworking stuff if you'd like. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you found any of this useful, if there was a tool I mentioned that you hadn't thought of before, please consider subscribing. It would help the channel immensely. Comment below if there's something you hope to get for Christmas that I didn't think of. And thanks for watching. Merry Christmas. Or Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate.